Hello, Aspire Academy students and parents and our broader stakeholders here in the community. I'm excited to report to you the results of our first quarter student success profile. Just taking a look at the areas where our school is doing well, and then also identifying focus areas for us to look at as a school moving forward into the next quarter. And also just sharing with you if there are areas that you can be supporting your students or your children at home, helping them do better in those areas as well, so that we can see the impact of that happening across the entire school community. Just before I dive into the results here, I want to remind you of some of the vocabulary associated with our graphs. This is just an example of what an engagement and participation score might look like. Moving from the left to the right, what we see here is camera usage, question response, the active learning presence, and then content interaction, and then the sum of all of these showed here together. Really quick, the student score is always shown in this navy color. The Excel is shown in this orange color, and the goal is shown with this dotted red line. The student score, again, is just the individual score that a student does, how they perform in that certain content area, specific and then total. The Excel is the essential competencies for synchronous online learning, and this represents the least amount that is required. And then we have the goal, which is always higher than what the very baseline necessity is. All right, so let's go into our first slide, which shows the total score across all areas that are being evaluated. So this is the first quarter SSP total for the school, the entire school. And as you can see, our school reached the goal of 190 total, of 196.1. And then we also see that far exceeds the Excel of 132. And it's just very exciting to see that we are already 6 points north of our goal as a total. Let's look at the individual evaluation areas. The first one we're looking at is engagement and participation. It is the only area that falls below our goal. So all the other areas fall at or above the goal, which is really exciting. The two areas where, as a school, we are falling short are in the area of camera usage and question response. So these are the two areas that we're going to be working on moving into the second quarter. The active learning presence and the content interaction is very high, and that means we are just short of meeting our goal in engagement and participation. So talk about this with your students, talk about this with your kids. Let's work on being better camera users and being more engaged with questions and discussions in the classroom. The next one we're looking at is the learning environment average. Now, we met this, but barely. We did really well with the ergonomics and accessibility, so there seems to be good evidence that when students are at their desks and working in their dedicated learning space in a distraction-free environment, that space is set up and ready to serve their academic needs, which is why we end up ahead of our goal here in the learning environment total. However, I think we did meet the goal here barely in having a dedicated learning space and a distraction-free work environment, but I would really like to see us do better than just barely meeting the goal for that. So just, relatively, that's an area where we want to continue to grow and do better. Really proud of our students here in their digital literacy use here, and they're doing very well with having proficiency in their technology, awareness and use, and being very responsible with their digital etiquette. And then also the total here is reflected here with nearly a 5.5 point increase over the SSP goal. So bravo to all of our students for digital literacy averages and tech use. Really well done. The social and emotional well-being average is just evaluating that student-teacher relationship, and again, an area for relative growth here. We see that we are barely meeting that metric, and that student-teacher relationship is really all about students learning how to advocate for themselves, reach out, and ask for help when they need help, and then respond also when a teacher reaches out asking if they need help. So those are some ways that we can continue to improve that. We met the goal, but as you can see, barely. And the same is true for personal growth and development. This is all about maintaining that growth mindset, right? Seeing challenges as opportunities to overcome, and then learning how to be adaptable and look at ways to solve problems. All of that is involved in the personal growth and development average. And so we met it, but again, barely. And that's just going to be an area that we're going to be focusing on as well. However, when it's all said and done, back to the main page here, very proud of our work. A couple areas we're going to be focusing on, specifically really in the area of camera usage, question response, and then also focusing in on a couple of these areas where we met but barely met and continuing to grow. The other thing I'd like to ask you to do is go online. You'll see that this website is posted, and then look at your students' performance compared to the entire school learning environment, the entire school tech use, digital literacy. Look at your students' score compared to their social and emotional well-being averages as a school. Where are they landing in comparison to other students at Aspire Academy? It's a healthy way to evaluate where your students are at and the areas that they continue to grow in, but also areas where they need to work on bringing up their performance. So that would be a really valuable tip to engage in. Grab your student's report, sit down with the website, go through these numbers, see where your student lands, and then have a good conversation about ways that they can continue to grow and ways that they can continue to do well if they're doing well in certain areas. All right, thank you so much. Good job, Aspire Academy students and families. Proud of you. Let's see that number creep up even higher as we go into the second quarter here, especially in the areas of camera usage and question response. God bless you.